You have an Azure subscription named subscription 1. You have 5 TB of data that you need to transfer to subscription 1. You plan to use an Azure import export job. What can you use as the destination of the imported data? Option A, Azure SQL database. Option B, Azure file storage. Option C, an Azure Cosmos DB database. Option D, the Azure file sync storage sync service. Option E, Azure data factory. Option F, a virtual machine. The correct answer is option B. You have an Azure Active Directory tenant named adatum.com that contains the users as shown in the following table. This is the table. Adatum.com has the following configurations. First, users may join devices to Azure AD and to set user 1. Second, additional local administrator on the Azure AD joined devices is set to none. You deploy Windows 10 to a computer named Computer 1. User 1 joins Computer 1 to adatum.com. You need to identify the local administrator group membership on Computer 1. You need which users are the members of local administrators group. Option A, user 1 only. Option B, user 1, user 2 and user 3 only. Option C, user 1 and user 2 only. Option D, user 1, user 2, user 3 and user 4. Option E, user 2 only. The correct answer is option C. You have an Azure subscription named subscription 1. You have 5 TB of data that you need to transfer to subscription 1. You plan to use Azure import export job. What can you use as a destination of the imported data? Option A, Azure SQL database. Option B, Azure file storage. Option C, an Azure Cosmos DB database. Option D, the Azure file sync storage sync service. Option E, Azure data factory. Option E, a virtual machine. The correct answer is option B. You have an Azure subscription that contains storage accounts shown in the following table. Have a view on this table. You need to identify which storage account can be converted to zone redundant storage replication by requesting to live migration from Azure support. What should you identify? Option A, storage 1. Option B, storage 2. Option C, storage 3. Option D, storage 4. The correct answer is option B. You have an Azure subscription that contains the following resources. First, 100 Azure virtual machines. Second, 20 Azure SQL database. And third, 50 Azure file shares. You need to create a daily backup for all the resources by using Azure Backup. What is the minimum number of backup policies that you must create? Option A, 1. B, 2. Option C, 3. Option D, 150. Option E, 170. The correct answer is option C. You have an Azure subscription that includes the data of the following locations. This is the table. You plan to export data by using Azure import export job name export 1. You need to identify the data that can be exported by using export 1. Which data should you identify? Option A, DB1. Option B, table 1. Option C, container 1. Option D, share 1. The correct answer is option D. You have an Azure virtual machine named VM1 that runs Windows Server 2016. You need to create an alert in Azure when more than 2 error events are logged to the system event. Log on VM1 within an hour. Solution: you create an Azure Log Analytics workspace and configure the data settings. You install the Microsoft Monitoring Agent on VM1. You create an alert in Azure Monitor and specify the log analytics workspace as the source. Does this meet the goal? Option A, yes. Option B, no. The correct answer is option A. You have an Azure virtual machine named VM1 that runs server Windows Server 2016. You need to create an alert in the Azure when more than 2 error events are logged to the system event log on VM1 within an hour. You create an Azure Log Analytic workspace and configure the data settings. You add Microsoft Monitoring Agent VM extension to VM1. You create an alert in Azure Monitor and specify the Log Analytic workspace. Does this meet the goal? Option A, yes. Option B, no. The correct answer is option B. You have an Azure subscription named Subscription 1 that contains the resources in the following table. Have a careful look on this table. VM1 connects to a virtual network named VNet2 by using a network interface named NIC1. You need to create a new network interface named NIC2 for VM1. Solution: you create NIC2 in RG1 and West US. Does this meet the goal? Option A, yes. Option B, no. The correct answer is option A. You have an Azure subscription that contains the resources shown in the following table. You need to create a new network interface named NIC1. In which location you can create the NIC1? Option A, East US and North Europe only. Option B, East US and West Europe only. Option C, East US, West Europe and North Europe. Option D, East US only. The correct answer is option D. Our team is working hard to keep the content up to date. If you find this video helpful, please let us know in the comment. We really appreciate if you like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.